Hello, the game is Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. And in this video, I just want to go over some basics, some basic information about the game. It's growing. I wanted to kind of go over that a little bit. The status of the servers, the state of the game, grouping versus solo content, the classes, the crafting, the quality of life, and is it worth it? So it's going to be like a general state of the game video. The goal of it, the goal of this video, or at least the point I'm trying to make, is I want to give a fair, balanced view of what the game really is. I want to set expectations for the game. I want it to be truthful. I don't want to fanboy it or white knight it and be defensive about its weak spots. And I also don't want to just slam it and ridicule it and focus on all the negative. I kind of want to give a fair, balanced view of what the game is currently, what its potential is, and then you can decide if you want to buy it. It's not a huge investment. It's only $40 on Steam. But that's the goal of the video. So let's see if I can accomplish this. First topic, unfinished but very playable. Let's go with that. So the game's at a very rough state. So a lot of people are going to buy this game. They're going to jump in. You'll probably blow past your 2-hour refund point just getting started until you see some of the things that aren't added yet. There's a lot of quality of life. Like as you can see, I got my chat tabs all filtered out and my text different colored. There's a good party UI, good buffs UI. Look at the macros. They have macros. However, you can't drag those macros down to your bar yet. You got to click them. Quality of life feature, unfinished. So there's a lot of things in the game that are unfinished so far, including the classes, including the crafting, the zones, but they have a lot in the game. It's extremely playable. It's reliable. There's no weird, like, laggy bug features or anything like that. You can get a group together and you can play safely and you can level up and have a little semi-permanence of the game. So, like one of the features right now that's killing me is it doesn't auto sort. So like when you take your loot and put it into your bank, or if you get new loot into your bags, well, actually, when you get loot from a monster to your bag, it auto sorts. It stacks it together. So if you get a Batwing, and then you get a second Batwing, you'll have 2 Batwings with 1 stack. However, if you go to the bank and click those 2, you just like click it and it moves it over to your bank. If you click those 2 Batwings into your bank and you have 10 Batwings in a stack, it won't add it. So it's not auto stacking, only coming from loot to your person. I don't know the reason behind that. Somebody said it was because of like duplication issues, probably from like server lag verification. Maybe it was duping items or something, or it could be, who knows? That was just a rumor. So it could be anything, but it's something they're working on. It's something I hope they make a priority to fix. A Monk Feign Death doesn't work very well. It works, but not as well as it should. Maybe it's a skill level thing. People are still trying to figure it out. Maybe you got to have max monk skill before it works really well. It works sometimes, doesn't work faithfully. So there's a lot of unfinished things. Spell descriptions, when you're buying them, sometimes they're weird. They don't have a lot of information. So there's a lot of questions. You got to really just kind of experience the game right now. There's still a lot of work to do. So speaking on that, they said in the Steam page, this is a game, you buy it for $40. It's going to be free to play until it isn't. They might decide to add a subscription later. They don't know what they're doing right now. So keep that in mind as well. I think what they'll probably end up doing, because a lot of the player base was sold on a subscription game. That's what we want. We want this to be a sub game so they have money to support their development. Plus, we want that paywall to keep all the free-to-play scrubs out, causing trouble and trolling and exploiting the game with free-to-play accounts. On the flip side of that, it reduces the amount of people that are willing to like purchase a game or something like that. So what they were thinking about doing is maybe transporting all these characters over to a server so you keep these characters. Maybe they'll do like a couple free-to-play servers, a couple premium pay servers, stuff like that to satisfy both types of people. But it's up in the air is the point. We don't know. It's all guesswork at this point. The devs don't even know what they're doing or what their pay model is going to be yet, right? So keep that in mind. They think they'll be able to have this done in 2 years, but again, it's been many years this thing has been in development. Their lead designer died. They did an overhaul and changed the whole graphical system. That was a big stink. A lot of people didn't like it, but actually it's not that bad. You know what I mean? It's not what people were expecting, and they had a certain expectation, and they had to change it just for the performance of the game or whatever reason. But overall, it's very, very unfinished, but it's also at the same time very, very, very playable. It's very fun. I mean, it's really itching that thing that has been unscratched for a very long time, playing, EverQuest Classic servers, trying to get a little scratch here and there where I can, playing WoW Classic servers, trying to get that little scratch where I can. So that's kind of state of game. I don't know how else to describe it. It's unfinished. If that bothers you, wait. You don't have to buy it now. You can buy it a year from now. It'll probably be the same price. It'll probably be the same situation, and you can follow the development. Or if you want to get in, start having fun now and grouping with these dudes that I'm in here grouping with. By the way, I'm playing an enchanter. Don't mind me if you see me making mistakes or whatever. Just learning the game and figuring things out, trying to do the best I can. So please hold your criticism if you're watching me play. So it is what it is. It runs fine. It runs very stable. It hasn't been crashing on me. It's very stable, actually. I don't think I've ever had a crash. I don't think, maybe once I've been disconnected, and I think that was my ISP. So the core of the players seem to be a little bit older, kind of my age, a little bit younger than me, maybe. EverQuest players. People who want this type of game seem to be the core of this type of player. People who want monsters and memories. People who want EverCraft online. People who want AOC to be good. You know what I mean? Like, these are the people who like these type of games. People who play the EverQuest TLPs every year, and just so they can get that little scratch. So now we finally got some permanence here. It's stable. It's playable. I think it's good enough for now, but you have to come in understanding what it is. This is extremely early access, just come out of alpha. It's going to be a very slow development cycle. There may be wipes. Right now, the only wipe that they're guaranteeing is at the end when they make new servers. And even then, it might not be a wipe. They might transfer all of our characters onto a legacy server or something like that, just so we can keep them and access them and keep playing there if we want. So don't know what's going to happen. Could be a wipe next month. Might not be a wipe for a year. So don't know what's going to happen. So that's the unfinished but playable. So I want to talk a little bit about grouping versus solo. So grouping versus solo. Right now, I think it's in a pretty balanced state. It's very beneficial to find a group at a lot of times. It makes it easier, more stable. So if you're going to sit here and grind like we were doing for hours, you're probably going to have more fun being social and in a group and playing that way. However, I do feel like it is a little too easy to solo right now. And I actually just patched it a little bit, made it slightly easier to solo by lower con mobs to give you a little bit more XP. So I don't like that. I want this to be a group-based game now, but careful when I say that. Don't be like, well, I need to be able to solo. Listen, I don't want you not to be able to solo. I think these types of games the group is the premium, right? Solo is something you do while you're looking for a group, or if you only got 20 minutes and you can't commit to a group, right? If that's the case, every class should be able to solo or grind something so you can get loot, so you can get a little bit of XP. But that XP needs to really be a little bit compared to the group. I'm talking like 1/10. Like, it should take you 10 times longer to level solo than if you did a group. That's kind of the way the balance needs to be, in my opinion. Right now, it's not like that. It's certain points of your leveling process, it's actually faster to solo than it is getting to a group, if you know what you're doing. Now, from when I played higher level, that changes. Like, the XP grind is real past like 15, level 15-ish, 20-ish. And right now the game only goes up to 40, so no need to rush it either. But my understanding is later game, you're definitely going to want to be grouping. You can solo, but it's just such a slog that you want to be grouping. And if the group knows what they're doing, the XP is better. But I think they really, in my opinion, because I'm more on the side that I think these kind of games it's a social game. That's what it's supposed to be. It's a group-focused game. They need to really reduce the amount of XP that you get when you're solo, or boost the group XP. You know what I mean? But I think the amount of XP it takes to level, it's not a slog, but it's a little bit, right? It's not quick. When you're grouping, it's kind of slows down around level 7 or 8 and just slows down. I think it feels good right now. I'd have to check the higher levels when I get there. It probably turns into a bit of a slog at higher levels, but right now it feels great. Like 1 to 10 is great. You can solo. You can grab brand new class and solo. Bing, level 8. You can solo very easily, and some classes very, very easily, up to 5 or 6, right? And then you're probably going to want to start grouping. You can continue soloing from there, but like I said, it just takes a lot of effort, and you're going to sit there for hours soloing. Maybe it's just me. That's not fun. That's actually, I was playing World of Warcraft Classic just before, and just got sick of it, and was just like, why am I sitting here soloing and then going into a dungeon for like 5 to 10% of my time playing, and then going back and grinding like, why am I doing this? It just felt like a chore, like a job. It wasn't fun sitting there grinding mobs. I want to be in a group. I want to grind, and I don't even want to be in a group. I don't even want to be in a group like grinding dungeons. I want to chill like this. I want to chill and just grind a spot, find a nice camp in a dungeon, and do that. That's kind of the gameplay I like, camp group style kind of gameplay. So, all right, now as far as classes, let's get into that next. So again, it's very early access. It's missing a lot of quality of life. Some of it may bother you, it may not, but again, it's playable. I think that's the whole theme of this. The expectation is it is a playable game. There's a lot of uncertainty to it. Nothing is 100% known right now. Things can change as developers need to change them. Things may get removed, may get added. And if you're the type of person where that bugs you and you just want to finish solid game, you might want to wait. If you want to get in and play now and group and have fun and learn the game early and see it develop and know all the changes, because there's going to be a lot of confusion. You're going to be like, I thought Silverleaf used to be able to combine with Bat Blood. It would make this. Oh, no. 3 patches ago, they changed it. If you're the type of person that wants to know all that stuff and not have to figure it out when you come in, then you may want to play it now. Just get that little early edge of knowledge and experience so you know what's what. So is it worth it? In my opinion, $40 is definitely worth it. There's no sub fee right now. There may be 2 years from now, but there isn't any now. And it's worth it if you like the social grouping, camping, EverQuest style of game. This is the only one out there. Other than Embers Adrift, which for whatever reason decided to go without magic. By the way, this game reminds me of Embers Adrift, like kind of how the caves are kind of bland right now and stuff like that. But if you like that kind of game, it's definitely worth it. It's worth it. It's a no-brainer if you like that kind of game. Get into it. You'll have fun. It's surprisingly fun and addictive, and you don't get bored of it. If you don't like that kind of stuff, I would wait. There's no harm in waiting right now. I'm not trying to tell people not to buy this game that I would like to see supported, but the reality is, for some people, they're better off just waiting until the game's more polished before they jump in, and then they can figure everything out. So that's the video. I'm sure very long and drawn out, but this is a kind of a complex topic, right? So to kind of capture all the different essences of this and put it together so it's kind of comprehensible. There's nothing I can show you other than some gameplay footage and just talking about it. So I think it's really great that it's doing so well on Steam. Let's talk about Steam. So let me bring up the Steam charts real quick. All right, so the Steam charts right now, every day we're peaking. We're getting a brand new all-time peak every day since I've been watching it. It just keeps going up and up and up and up every day, right? So it was released on Steam on December 13th, 2024. Now, Steam only shows Steam players. Anybody who bought the game after December 13th, 2024, this is it. It does not show the previous supporters. So all the people who pledged all those years, 7 years or something like that, including myself, and got, paid for a copy of the client then, it doesn't show them. It doesn't show the supporters. It only shows once it went live on Steam, which I gave ample notice. They were like, hey, for a very long time, we're going to go over to Steam. It's your last chance to do the supporter packs and get all the extra features and benefits. I kind of wish maybe I upgraded a little bit, but, money's tight, so it is what it is. I supported them a while ago. It's good enough. But yeah, it's just been blowing up on Steam. Now you might say, "Oh, 6,000 people, that's blowing up." Yeah, that's blowing up for Pantheon. Like, you gotta remember this game was developed on a shoestring budget. I'll talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about Brad and I want to talk about Pantheon. So hang on if you want to hear that. But yeah, basically, one thing I wanted to point out is the retention. So new people are buying this, and they're playing it, right? They're not dropping it and going, oh, this is dumb. It just keeps going up and up and up, and I hope it keeps going up. I hope it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. But this is really doing good for Pantheon. All the servers are filled. What they do is each server has about 500, I think, players. I think they're working on expanding each server's capacity, but then they duplicate the server. So right now there's like 4 Black Moon servers. So it'll be Black Moon 0, Black Moon 1, Black Moon 2, Black Moon 3. You can log on to any of those servers and your character will be there if you made a character on any of those Black Moons. So you can swap different servers. If one's locked out, you can't get into it because it's full. You can go to the other one. Your characters will all be there. You can't take your characters to other servers. Like my server, we only have 2, and we're getting capped out almost. Like one will be locked and the one will be almost locked. We definitely need a third one on ours, but that's how they're kind of doing it right now. They basically got different servers, and they'll add more once those servers get capped out. For whatever reason, the West Coast servers are very low pop. I think they're all playing on the East Coast servers for whatever reason. I think what happened was some streamers went on one of the servers, so everybody went to that server, and that became like the most popular server. So everybody's just team stacking, basically server stacking. I seen that happen, and I was like, I don't want to be on that server, and I went to the second most popular server, and it's been a really chill experience. So I can't speak for how every server is, but it's been a pretty good community on my server. A lot of chill people joking around, old school memes, new memes, and just mostly being polite. Like I had a wizard today who was like, picked me up and gave me a port on my new character. And I was like, dude, I could tip you. I don't have any money on it. He was like, no, dude. He's like, these ports just opened up. He was like, I'm not even taking money from anybody. He was like, there's so many people that are going to need ports since they just opened up. So I'll charge later, but I'm not even going to take money now. Like that's the type of mindset of the players have. Not all players are like that, but yeah, you'll find a lot of that stuff. So it's been really chill, it's been really fun, and it's growing, and that's great. So let me get back to some gameplay. I think we're almost done with the video. This last part, I'm just going to tell some story as best as I can remember it. And I did a little bit of researching into this because I've been a big fan of EverQuest for a long time. And I always wanted to know, like, who were these great minds behind this game? And one of the biggest minds behind the game, one of the most influences, the torchbearer of the vision of EverQuest was Brad McQuaid. Right? So Brad McQuaid got together with John Smedley, I think his last name is. Sorry, John, if I mispronounced your name. I call him Smeed or Smeedley. I don't know why, I just always have. But he was the CEO, John was, of, I think, Sony Online. I forget. It's been so long I forget. But they were with Variant Interactive, and John was involved. And then Sony got him, and John ran the business side of it. And Brad was like the head dude making the game. And there was a lot of other people that made EverQuest great. Speaking of which, the EverQuest show YouTube channel, watch that. They got a lot of great interviews with a lot of the old devs. I found there were just such great information coming out of there. Really glad he did those interviews. A Loving Robot also did a lot of interviews with a lot of the devs. Very, very great channel if you want to watch some of them if you're interested in like the historical stuff. But anyway, so Brad, I think what happened was there was some conflict come like the development cycle towards Scars of Ilias, Plane of Power. You notice that's when the game started changing. I think my own opinion of what I heard is maybe Brad lost some say or some authority or some direction of the game. Like he had a vision. I remember he always talked about his vision of what the game was, and some people liked that vision. Some people were always railing against it. But he was the one that had the vision of this group content, this kind of harder game, social aspect. I realized that when he made Vanguard. So he left EverQuest to make his own game. Sigil Games, I believe, was the company he made, something like that. And he got funding from Microsoft. Big company, big money, big budget, right? He's going to make this big MMO. Could have been the WoW killer that never came, but unfortunately it died, and I'll tell you how it died. And the reason why I want to get into the story is there's a lot of, I always hear misinformation on the internet. You know, oh, he was using drugs, or it was an addiction, or he did this or that. There may be little bits of truth in some of that stuff, but that's not what happened. So here's what happened as far as I understand it. Feel free to link some articles if you have them to correct me if I'm wrong. If you're just going to tell me I'm wrong, don't even bother. You better back it up with some information. That's all I'll say about that. So anyway, he went to Microsoft to make his own game, right? Because EverQuest was changing and going a direction he didn't like, was my understanding. Microsoft, big money, big daddy Warbucks. There was a guy there that was running the gaming division, some director or something. I forget his name. Maybe I'll do a video about this later. I'm just going to do a brief history, and I'll get all the sources and everything. But anyway, that guy got replaced or left, and a new director came in, a new head honcho of Microsoft, and he wanted to pivot. As soon as he came in, he wanted to pivot and go to mobile games. This is back before mobile games and pay to win. This is back before all that, when a lot of people didn't even understand what was going on in the game industry. But Microsoft, that dude wanted to pivot to mobile games, and he's pulled funding for this long-term subscription-based MMO stuff. So thank you, whoever that was at Microsoft that pulled funding and basically destroyed the genre of the whole industry of the gaming genre that I like. And we only had WoW and a bunch of WoW clones ever since. Anyway, so he pulled funding, and that was it. Like, Brad had to let go of his staff. He couldn't continue funding. I heard some of his staff loved him. Some of his staff were very angry about it. Maybe how he handled it. I'm sure he just went into, I'm sure it was a horrible time for Brad. He probably went into depression. Maybe that's where the drug thing comes from. I don't know. I didn't know the man. I didn't know any of these people. Yeah, so that was that. And then all of a sudden, it gets bought by Sony Online Entertainment, the guys who ran EverQuest, the guys who Brad left. So way it looked to me is Smeedley was like, yo, Brad, I'll hook you up, I'll help you out, sell your company to us, we can publish it, you know. And that's kind of, it was either, I think it was a situation where it was like, either the game dies right then and there on a spot, like I can't develop it anymore, or you could try to crowdfund it, but good luck with that, you know. You can't, in the business world, you can't go from a huge budget with all this money and funding so you can have all this staff and do all these great things, and you start building something and then not have it, and then go to a shoestring budget and still try to build it. It would take forever, right? So I think what happened was they bought it, they patched it up to make it playable, bare minimum continued development on it, just enough to get it out the door, and it released in a pretty bad state, right? Now, I bought Vanguard and I played it just because it was Brad's game, and I liked his vision. And when I played Vanguard, that's when it confirmed to me that the vision that was EverQuest and all the parts of EverQuest that I liked came from him, because he developed Vanguard, and I seen all the mechanics were all there, right? It was literally like EverQuest 2, way more than EverQuest 2 was. So that really solidified it for me back then that it was his vision, right? And then, but it was in a bad state. So, you know, it wasn't well received. It was hyped and in a bad state. And I think there was honestly, it feels like there was an effort online to like slam him and his game and to make him fail by a certain group of people. Maybe some of the people who got fired, just saying. But it really I remember back in the day feeling like, man, there's this really focused hate towards him for some reason. Like, just really focused, spamming the forums, spamming any topic that comes up, downvoting anything positive, that kind of stuff. Like really seeing this almost felt like a psyop effort to crap on anything they did. Anyway, I don't want to get into the negatives, but that's what it felt like. It just felt like there was a force that was mad at him and didn't want him to succeed. Yeah, so that was it. You know, Vanguard slowly withered away and died, but people who played it seen what I'm talking about. The mechanics of the game were, man, it was the best bard I've ever. It was like EverQuest had the most unique bard mechanics and design I've ever seen in any game, and Vanguard took that to the next level. They didn't change it. They didn't make it different. They just made it better. It was like the best bard ever. It was the same bard, but you built songs out of notes and melodies and stuff, and you could basically, like in EverQuest, how you make a macro. You make a bard macro. It was the same thing. It just had an interface, and the songs were different notes and chords, and you could put them together. It basically made like a melody, a song macro. It was ingenious. The Ranger was awesome. The crafting systems were awesome in that game. It just was unfinished and unpolished. And when it came out, like back then, people had high standards. They don't have high standards anymore. I think if Vanguard came out now, everybody'd be like, yeah, this is awesome, because we're so desperate for it. But back then, people had really high standard, no pay to win allowed. They wouldn't even think about it. So anyway, Vanguard crashed, burned. After a while, Brad decided to give it a go again with Pantheon, and that's where we're coming to. That's how Pantheon got formed. Brad did a Kickstarter. I think he wanted like $800,000. He needed $800,000 minimum to commit to being able to make this thing happen, and he didn't get it. He got like $600,000. So he didn't give up. He's like, all right, I'm just going to, instead of going through crowdfunding, I'm going to try to source fund it myself through pledges. And that's where all these pledges and stuff came from. You had to go to his website and pledge. I'll pledge $30 to buy the game. I'll pledge $500 for these benefits. I'll, supporter packs and pledges and stuff like that. And they got together on a shoestring budget, man. I mean, shoestring. I remember them showing pictures of themselves in Brad's garage, designing the game in his garage, like move your cars out and put a table in there kind of thing, The current developer, Joppa, I don't know. I don't follow this stuff very well. I usually do after the fact, but I think he was in those pictures. I think he was one of the original dudes that came over. So Brad had recruited some good talent of people who really wanted to make this type of game, who really wanted to make a great game. And then in 2019, Brad died, right? So that was a big blow. That was, that sucked, right? So, but they kept on. Joppa's now, I think, like the head dev. I don't know. I see everybody talking about his name. I always say getting to the Joppa. But they've been doing it. It's been a long time. So when you hear people like, oh, this is all you got after 7 years, you got to remember it's been a shoestring budget. It's, tragedy after tragedy. The only thing no, I'm not even going to do it. For some reason, how you just can't say a word. The only really thing that saved this game was there were some angel investors that came in, right? Probably some dudes who made Bitcoin or something. Bitcoin money who used to play EverQuest came in and was like, yeah, we're going to help you out. I know if I did that, I probably would have been one of them guys, So somebody came in and gave them funding enough to keep it kind of going and plugging along to where it's at now. And then they had to do like a whole design, graphical redesign a couple years ago, which really set everything back. I don't know the details about that. Like, did they mess up, or was it unplayable when you got like a bunch of people together? Did it lag out and they got to redesign it or something? I don't know the details on that, but there's a lot of setbacks. But through it all, they've been very open. Even through all the criticism that they've gotten over the years, very positive, trying to make a good base game, and it's finally here. It has some permanence. The supporter pledges, I think, which were actually hurting them, wiping every month like that, that's gone. People can now play it with a little bit of permanence, and I think that's important for people, and I think that's why it's really succeeding right now, because people can get in and kind of play it and have fun and group, and it's playable. It's not perfect. It still has a lot of work that needs to be done, but it's playable, and it has permanence. And I think that's what's making it succeed right now. So good job to all the guys and all the long-term devs on the Pantheon team that stuck it out this long. I imagine they're not having huge salaries. Hopefully, if this game's successful, they get some bonuses. But yeah, so overall, that's kind of the history of Pantheon. the history of Brad and where this whole vision of this game comes from. Will Brad's vision hold true? I don't know. Maybe. Brad's gone. So, but his base vision is driving this game, and we'll see where it goes from here. It's the great adventure of life. Nothing's guaranteed. So that's the video. I hope you liked it. Hopefully you're still watching. You didn't click off. Here's a test. If you're still watching this video, just comment down below. Just say, "Rip Brad." That's it. Rest in peace, Brad, to let me know that you watched this video all the way to the end. And we'll see how many people actually watch this all the way to the end. Rest in peace, Brad. We love your vision. Pantheon team, keep going strong. We're supporting you.